It's now all shields down Swampert, over farms, fires off the Hydro Cannon. This will be getting rid of the Bear Trap. The opponent has that low health Pidgeot, they send it back out, they must be super weak. Hydro Cannon will be taking out Pidgeot. Shadow Swampert, aka the GOAT, the greatest of all time, now running through the opponent's team. That final Pokemon is Registeel. Swampert outpaces to the Earthquake, and the GOAT will always do GOAT things. Welcome back to the home of Shadow Pokemon. We are in the final day of the Team Rocket takeover. So if you've got minimal TMs like myself and you're wondering what Pokemon should I remove frustration on, look to the left. We've got 3 absolute monsters in the Ultra League. If you haven't got these 3 Pokemon built, this showcase will most certainly incline you to do so. These battles today were submitted by my good friend Chino, aka Darth Beta. He's a phenomenal battler. He has reached legend multiple times, often using non-XL Pokemon. He loves spicy Pokemon. His favourite Pokemon actually is Lucario, a Pokemon he has used in the Great and Ultra League. We've showcased both of them battles on the channel. He also loves to rep that triple Shadow hype. So without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, we had Shadow Swampert into Giratina. Not the worst matchup. Earthquake can hit for huge neutral damage. However, we've got 2 better responses. In the back, the opponent built up some energy, then pivoted into Swampert. Swampert might have the typing advantage over our Skuntank. However, with an energy lead, Skuntank can flip this matchup, and that's exactly what Chino does. He does invest 2 shields. However, if the opponent returns with Giratina, which they have, Skuntank leaves with the Crunch. Crunch lands for huge super effective damage. This bulky beast now below 50% HP. Chino now has the alignment that he wants. Sandslash really dominant against Dragon Breath Giratina, one of this season's buff Pokemon. Getting access to Drill Run means this Pokemon is an absolute menace. However, speaking of menacing things, the opponent's Giratina got the boost, but stay in school, kids. Learn to count. Chino not wanting to take that neutral damage on his Sandslash, pivoted out into Swampert to catch the Ancient Power. Giratina then fires off the Dragon Claw. Swampert gonna get farmed down. It's now all down to Sandslash. Sandslash comes in, looks for the farm down. The opponent's got Cresselia in the back, so Sandslash now looking primed to sweep. Both Ice Punch and Drill Run both hit Cresselia for neutral. Ice Punch does get same type attack bonus. However, if you're wondering just how good this season's buff is, Drill Run is better DP. Ice Punch is 0.8 DPE, whereas Drill Run is 0.86. In neutral matchups, you want to land the Drill Run, especially when shields are down. Chino fires off the Drill Run. We look for the farm down, and unfortunately, we don't get it. So we are off to a 0-1 start. However, I think if we went straight Drill Run, we probably would have won that game. Moving on to the next one. We see the battle of the GOAT, Shadow Swampert. Nicknamed the GOAT by myself because it is the greatest Pokemon of all time, especially in PvP terms. Cobalion, nicknamed the GOAT for obvious reasons. Chino full sends the Earthquake. The opponent correctly shields it up. Chino gonna be matching shields. Cobalion or Cobalion, depending on what you want to call it. Super spammy. Chino gets outpaced in this matchup, looking to go straight Earthquake. Chino now gonna be firing off the Hydro Cannon. Does the opponent go all shields down? Yes, they do. Chino now going to be able to land the Earthquake. However, he fires off the Hydro Cannon on a CMP site. Is Hydro Cannon enough to secure the knockout? Yes, it is. We see the instant pivot into Skuntank, really heads up play, as Chino didn't want to get his Swampert farm down. The opponent pivoted out into Talonflame. He threw 5 poison jabs, anticipating the opponent will get a 1-turn switch. However, they did not. That means Chino threw an alignment. However, the opponent didn't send the Brave Bird. Skuntank survived the flame charge, made the crunch, and this is now going to be game over. Sylveon does return, gets the charm down, farm down. However, we reveal Sandslash, and if we was playing a game of chess, this would be check and mate, as they can only hit us for resisted. We can hit them for neutral the entirety of the time. Sylveon so slow to charge moves. Chino makes the double Ice Punch, and that's going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see Swampert into Charizard. Not the worst matchup for the opponent, especially when shields are in play. However, we see the pivot into Walrus, and Chino answers with Skuntank. The opponent builds up to a potential Earthquake. They full send it. Holy crap, we get absolutely wrecked. Great play from the opponent, as hashtag they was not baiting. Chino now comes in, fires off the Drill Run on a CMP tie to the next Earthquake. Drill Run doesn't quite knock out. Is Chino gonna respect this? Holy crap. The opponent again full sends a good shield from Chino. Sandslash into Charizard isn't the worst matchup as we do resist the wing attacks. The opponent is going to need to land a Blast Burn. Chino looking to get off some chip damage with the Ice Punch. Ice Punch goes unshielded. We then look to catch a Blast Burn on our Swampert. Great play from Chino. The opponent full sends again. And then send out their own Swampert. The opponent still with 2 Protect Shields in play. Chino fires off the Hydro Cannon. The opponent doesn't respect it. However, Chino wins CMP on the next Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon does get shielded. Chino now gonna have to let Swampert go, which is exactly the play he does. Is now all down to Sandslash. Can Sandslash sweep the back line? The opponent not an Earthquake, so Chino correctly lets this move go through. He then fires off the Ice Punch just before the next Hydro Cannon. The opponent lets it go. Sandslash on minimal HP, however we do resist the wing attacks. Charizard only at a Dragon Claw, but Chino is going to respect it. Sandslash so far ahead in energy. So despite us getting nuked in the mid game, Sandslash going to carry us to victory as we've got the back-to-back Ice Punches locked and loaded. And we win a very entertaining battle. GG's to both trainers. In the next battle, we see Cresselia in the lead. Cresselia obviously has access to Grass Knot, so we see the pivot into Skuntank and we draw out Pidgeot. Pidgeot users love to shield. Chino goes straight for the crunch, and to my surprise, the opponent lets it go. This is now really tricky. Does Chino respect the potential Brave Bird? Yes, he does, and great shield. He obviously didn't want to get nuked back-to-back games. Skuntank now, flip switch, which is absolutely huge. That does now allow us to align our Sandslash with that stupid Cresselia. The opponent's final Pokemon is a Walrein. Walrein doesn't respect the crunch. The opponent then continues to overfarm. Skuntank makes the second crunch. Skuntank absolutely going off. The opponent going to be firing off the Icicle Sphere. Icicle Sphere doesn't quite knock out. However, they are able to Powder Snow down afterwards. Chino now sends out Swampert, and the opponent now pretty much in Hydro Cannon range. This is resistive at Swampert, hits so hard. Hydro Cannon doesn't quite knock out. However, the opponent can throw whatever they like. That also isn't going to knock out Swampert. They throw the Earthquake. We see the Simul swap. Sandslash into Cresselia. The opponent now realises just how key switch advantage was in this game. I often see people complaining about hard counters. This is a prime example of what you need to do. Swampert would have got one shot by the Grass Knot, which the opponent had. However, Chino managed to flip the mid game, and now we're sitting in the driver's seat. Both trainers still have 1 Protect Shield remaining. Chino firing off the Ice Punch, looking to force the final shield off the opponent, which he does. Sandslash down below 50% HP. The opponent continuing to throw Grass Knots. The opponent then look to sack Walrein. They don't do it, and then the opponent concedes the match. Moving on to the next one. We see Swampert into Charizard again. The opponent attempts to catch a Hydro Cannon on Giratina. Chino shows great discipline, holding his energy, and then answers Giratina with Sandslash. The Legacy Shadow Claws hit Giratina for super effective, as does the Ice Punch already. This bulky beast below 50% HP. The opponent fires off the Ancient Power, and this time we see no boost. Giratina been a staple of the Ultra League for so many seasons, and if you're wondering why, it's because if that stupid dragon can get the boost, it can flip many matchups it's got no right in flipping. Chino fired off the Ice Punch on a CMP tie with the Giratina, really nice play. Charizard does return if they attempt to wing attack farm down. Sandslash will make 2 Ice Punch. Again, the opponent looks to catch this time. The opponent does catch, so the opponent making all the correct plays. The opponent sends out Regirock. Chino pivots back out into Swampert. He full sends the Earthquake. The opponent called it was just a Hydro Cannon. Hashtag we aren't baiting. Charizard with 2 Protect Shields looking to sweep. However, this game's just over. Chino knows he survives 1 more Dragon Claw. He makes the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon will be forcing the final Protect Shield. All we've got to do is save 2 shields for Skuntank, and we can just Poison Jab farm them all the way down. Chino shows the Skunk, and the opponent concedes. Nicely played from the opponent. However, we had the correct alignment. Moving on to the next one. We see XL Deoxys in the lead. Despite Sandslash having access to Shadow Claw, we definitely don't want Sandslash aligned with Deoxys, as the counters will be hitting us for double super effective. The opponent full sent the Psycho Boost the first time. That does lower their attack. However, much like Chino, I would have called the opponent was going for a bait. So they managed to get off some decent damage on our Swampert. We then pivoted into Skuntank, looking for the poison jab farm down. We don't get it. The opponent sent out Charizard, and holy smokes, they didn't respect the crunch. This is easily going to allow Chino to flip switch. The opponent was at back-to-back Dragon Claws, however the poison jab took him out. Deoxys returns, fires off the Thunderbolt, however the opponent just gets farmed down. They've got a Wall Rain in the back, so this is going to get a little bit tricky. Wall Rain has the potential to sweep. They shield up the first crunch. We don't make the second. Chino is going to send out Sandslash, but it's now the bait game. Wall Rain has residual energy. Good to go. This could be an Earthquake. Is Chino going to call the bait? Yes, he is. The opponent full send. Sandslash survives on 1 HP and the Dream. We make the drill run. We need the opponent to shield, which they do. This is going to allow him to come back into Swampert. The opponent isn't going to be able to double up on charge moves before the GOAT makes the Earthquake, and Earthquake vanquishes Wall Rain back to its Pokeball. Very nicely done in the end game. In the next battle, we see an opponent very much enjoying the glorious return of the buffed Nidoqueen. However, it definitely doesn't like its alignment against Swampert, so the opponent pivots out into an Obstructagoon. This is pretty annoying for our team, which is even more annoying as the opponent shielded up the Hydro Cannon. Chino does come in to Skuntank, and to be honest, we don't really need Swampert on Nidoqueen as both Sandslash and Swampert are really dominant. So he comes in to his Skunk, as we do resist all charge moves from this Obstagoon. The opponent really wants alignment. They're now all shields down. I think the issue here is if it's a team of Double Dark with Scrafty, Sandslash is going to get deleted if we lose switch. However, this team's often with Umbreon. We're really praying it's Umbreon, not Scrafty. It's all going to depend on what's in the back. This Obstagoon is boosted absolutely out of its mind. Chino full sends the Earthquake. Shadow Swampert hits like a truck, and Obstagoon still survives. Holy crap. Chino finally going to invest his Protect Shield, and it's a good shield as it is a Night Slash. Chino then looks for the Mudshot farm down, which we get. We leave with a whole heap of energy. The opponent actually doesn't have a second Dark type in the back. They've got Cresselia. We landed the Earthquake. The opponent then pivots back out into Nidoqueen. Chino goes straight for the hard-hitting Drill Run. Drill Run doesn't quite one-shot. Nidoqueen makes the Earth Power. Chino respects it with a shield. The opponent goes for a bait. However, they're not going to make another move. Sandslash farms down and the opponent concedes. Moving on to the next one. Yet another Charizard lead. Charizard so busted since the Wing Attack buff. A really fun Pokemon I personally enjoy using. Again, we see the pivot into Wall Rain. This time we come in to Sandslash. As this isn't a Shadow Wall Rain, we can survive an Earthquake. Chino again calls the bait. The opponent does full send. Chino then makes the next Drill Run on a CMP tie to the next Icicle Sphere. The opponent lets it go. We don't manage to secure the knockout. Is Chino going to shield? No, he's not. I imagine we're just going to come back into Swampert, get the Mudshot farm down, and that is exactly what he does. Swampert now has a huge running start, which is going to mean they're going to have to reveal their third. The opponent's third is their own Swampert. However, Chino, with so much residual energy, the opponent lets go of the first Hydro Cannon. However, Chino almost at another back-to-back. Chino going to invest his first Protect Shield here. He then returns fire with his own Hydro Cannon. The opponent going to be forced to start shielding. They shield the first. Chino fires off the second. Is the opponent going to go all shields down? Yes, they are. We then see the pivot into Skuntank. The opponent sends out Charizard. However, we've already seen Shadow Skunk eats Charizard for breakfast. We fire off the Crunch. Crunch does huge damage. We get the defense drop. The opponent is going to need to Blast Burn to take us out. That's exactly what the opponent does. However, with the defense drop, Swampert easily Mudshots farms down. Back out comes their own Swampert. Chino still has a Protect Shield, so he shields up the Earthquake. The opponent went for that Hail Mary, and Chino gonna make the Hydro Cannon, and that's gonna be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. A really nice play from the opponent in the end game, as they did leave with residual energy. So if Chino tried to no-shield the first Hydro Cannon, we would have actually lost. In the next battle, we see Swampert into Pidgeot. I personally have played this matchup numerous times, and they always feather dance. Chino agrees with me, and this opponent again masturbates us. Swampert shrugs off that minimal damage, and we pivot out into Skunk. We again call the feather dance. Holy smokes, this opponent's got a horrible masturbating habit. Skuntank returns fire with the crunch, which is double debuffed and now does pretty much nothing. The opponent still needs the Brave Bird to take us out. The opponent again feather dances. Trainer, what are you doing? They finally pivot out into the bear trap. We fire off the super effective flamethrower, however 4-stage debuff that does absolutely nothing. The opponent gets a huge mod shot farm down. We come back into Swampert. Chino gets baited again. Holy crap. Bait, bait, bait. However, speaking of baits, Chino goes for the kill shot, sends the earthquake. The opponent commits that shield. I'm calling a rock slide. However, Chino respects a potential quake. Again, the opponent baits. Fucking hell. Is that 5, 6? I don't know. I've lost count of all this masturbating. Chino takes him out with the Hydro Cannon. The opponent sends back out Pidgeot. Pidgeot not going to appreciate the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon takes care of the low health bird, and it's Registeel in the back. Swampert with a running start. Gonna be sending this masturbator back to training camp. Earthquake absolutely rocks Registeel. Registeel is going to take us out with a focus blast. However, this opponent is going to get beat, and rightfully so, as they masturbated far too much. We make the Ice Punch. Ice Punch is resisted, but more than enough to secure the dub. Remember, every time you masturbate, a cat dies. So pack in that nasty habit now. In the next battle, we see a dreadful lead. Swampert into Cresselia, we pivot into Skuntank. The opponent gives us a huge energy lead and then pivot out into Charizard. Chino can now flip this matchup. The opponent shields the first crunch. Skuntank already at crunch number 2. However, we do lose CMP. Chino shields up an overheat. Holy crap, the opponent looking to absolutely nuke us. However, Chino did shield, landed the next crunch, got the jab down, back out comes Cresselia. Skuntank healthy enough to survive any move. The opponent fires off the Moonblast. Unfortunately, they get the attack drop. However, Skuntank doesn't care. Crunch still going to land for decent damage. The opponent isn't going to be able to Psycho Cut, farm us down. They realise that. They pivot out into Umbreon, looking to catch the crunch. Chino banks a boatload of energy and then sends out Swampert. Swampert, Umbreon, pretty neutral. Umbreon just tickles. Swampert hits fairly hard, so I guess this is pretty neutral. Umbreon displaying its ridiculous HP stat as it's tanking these Hydro Cannons really well. The next one gets them into the red. Chino probably going to shield this up. You've got to shield something. Chino does shield up the foul play. We then fire off the next Hydro Cannon on a CMP tie, looking to force the final shield off the opponent. The opponent does oblige, putting up that shield. Foul play won't take us out, and Swampert is going to win the race to the next charge move. Swampert makes the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon is going to take care of Umbreon. I have no idea why the opponent is still staying in. We show them the Sandslash, and the opponent can throw whatever they like. Sandslash laughing at this Cresselia. The opponent sends a Future Sight. That is quite a hard hitting move with same type attack bonus. However, we don't care. We make the Ice Punch, and that is a good game. Wow, that was some crazy battles. We saw Chino land some huge nukes and also get nuked, which actually made my day, as that was great fun to shoutcast. Huge shout out to my good friend Chino. As always, buddy, I appreciate you. So if you're wondering why my uploads have been limited, we're in a Team Rocket takeover. So if you've got these 3 Pokemon with frustration, make sure you get it removed. But some exciting news for the channel. I've managed to obtain myself a decent Garchomp for MLP. And I've also got a decent Hitmontop for the Ultra League. I've also got this Ledian that you can see on the screen that I am looking to best buddy. So all them videos will be dropping in the future when I finally get the XL candy. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If, like Chino, you like your battles featured on my channel, a link to my battles mission form is down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching. Make sure you go remove frustration off your shadows, and I'll see you all in the next one.